It seems that the internet is pretty convinced that Johnny Depp will be the winner in his defamation trial against Amber Heard. However, legal experts do not agree, and they believe there's a strong chance that Johnny Depp may actually lose the $50 million trial against his ex-wife. Let's get into the shocking reasons Johnny Depp could lose his defamation trial. First up, court behavior. If you've been following the trial, you know that Johnny Depp has spent most of his time in court doodling and trying to pass the time. He's made an effort to never look at Amber Heard and almost ignore her existence completely. At times, he also makes sarcastic facial expressions and smirks when someone says something at the expense of Miss Heard. Fans are loving this snarky behavior, and compilations of Johnny's funny moments are currently going viral online. However, legal experts do not think this is a good legal strategy, and they believe this could hurt his chances of winning. Legal experts claim his smart-ass comments, quote, including joking about his drinking, could make him look unsympathetic to the jury and like he doesn't take this trial seriously, even though he's the reason it's happening in the first place. In the weeks of the trial, we've heard some very serious allegations of Johnny getting physical with Amber even sharing detailed accounts of these alleged altercations with the jury. The trial has also seen some moments of comic relief on the stand when a witness says or does something funny, or when one of the lawyers makes a mistake. Depp has even poked fun at himself and his past addictions. Once when Depp was asked about his drinking, he responded, quote, "Isn't happy hour anytime?" He's also been seen shaking his head dismissively and snickering and laughing at some of Heard's claims in court. Virginia lawyer Lee Berlick told the DailyMail.com that this could backfire, saying, quote, "In a normal case where nobody knows the parties and you have somebody suing his wife for $100 million, you don't want to see that person giggling and chuckling to himself and making smart comments on the witness stand," continuing that he needs the jury to sympathize with him and his situation, adding, quote, "If you're acting like this is just fun and games, that could turn people off." Obviously, the fact that Johnny Depp is a well-known celebrity changes this dynamic slightly, but it's still a concern his lawyers should be taking seriously. Stephen Krager, a Virginia-based lawyer, said that Heard's stoic disposition could cause her problems too, saying, quote, "It wouldn't surprise me if there was at least one juror who found each of their reactions to be inappropriate or not credible in some way or negative. As for Depp, you don't want to appear to a jury that you're making jokes, snickering, or not taking this seriously. Then as for Heard, you don't want to be staring straight ahead with a deadpan expression on your face. Both should be trying to appear sympathetic, humane, and like the victim." The next reason, difficult to legally prove defamation. Defamation trials are historically very hard to argue, because the jury needs to be convinced that there was no truth whatsoever in what was said, and even the slightest doubt will give a not guilty verdict. According to Dr. Jill Huntley Taylor, a legal analyst and the CEO of Taylor Trial Consulting, the case is an uphill battle for Depp. Jurors must be convinced that Depp was not physical with Heard. Quote, "If jurors conclude that this was a mutually relationship, some may see her op-ed as technically correct. However, other jurors may believe what Heard wrote was only a half-truth and therefore deceptive." The other challenge is the Washington Post op-ed. Not only does Johnny have to prove that Heard's accounts were not true, he also needs to prove a certain level of malice on her part. Taylor continued, quote, "The testimony that she initially wanted his name included in the op-ed may suggest malice, but the timing prior to her movie release may suggest her real motive was just to benefit herself. She assumes that jurors will conclude that there was physical violence on both sides of the marriage." Taylor also believes the Me Too movement will benefit Heard, as women are more inclined to be believed over men. Dr. Darcy Sterling, a relationship therapist and clinical social worker, told Entertainment Weekly that she believes mutual will be the likely answer for the jury. Since there is so much uncertainty with what actually went down between the couple, it's impossible to make a strong distinction in the verdict. Dr. Sterling stated in her experience, this type of behavior is generally shown by both partners. Sterling adds, quote, "Both partners were egregious in their behaviors and neither seemed to realize their culpability. Things are always easier to make sense of when one person is clearly a victim and the other a perpetrator." Adding, quote, "In my 27 years of practicing as a therapist, the vast majority of relationships I've seen show problems in both partners." And finally, Heard's emotional testimony may sway critics. Since we listened to Depp's side of things in the beginning of the trial, the internet was on his side, clearly believing what he had to say. But after Heard finally took the witness stand, some of her critics may have started to soften. Depp was on the stand for 4 days, accusing Heard of being the aggressor in their relationship. Then before the break, we heard 2 days of Amber telling her side of the story, explaining how they were deeply in love, but because of Johnny's issues with anger and substance misuse, he spiraled out of control and became violent. Depending on how she's able to stick to her story during the cross-examination, she could put some serious doubts in the minds of the jury that Johnny was physical at some point during their relationship, even if they believe Amber was the instigator. Southern California civil attorney Ryan Baker said, quote, "Her testimony was quite compelling. Even if you're not a fan of Amber Heard and you're biased towards Johnny Depp, she has presented some fairly detailed, emotional, strong testimony. It's hard to imagine the testimony won't be bouncing around the heads of jurors at the expense of the prior evidence. Alrighty guys, so that is all for the video today. Let me know your thoughts below, and let me know anything that I missed that could be in a part 2 of this video. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith, and we'll catch you in the next one.